The Angkor Wat complex in Cambodia was built not as an abode of the gods, but as a giant water processor that saved the empire from a climate catastrophe. It is a surviving component of a global Earth terraforming machine, the true scale of which we are only just beginning to realize today. Remember what is written in your school history textbooks. We are told tales of devout Khmers who spent decades carving patterns into stones for the glory of their deities. Official science paints an idyllic picture. Hundreds of thousands of workers with primitive copper chisels and baskets erecting humanity's greatest monument in the middle of impenetrable jungles. But let's discard these tourist myths. Now look at this cross-section of laterite and sandstone. Do you really believe such perfect geometric joints were made by hand? The true mystery of Angkor does not lie in its stone carving. It is hidden in the incredible, terrifying mathematics of the so-called barays, the giant rectangular reservoirs of the complex. The western baray measures 8 by over 2 kilometers. It is a perfectly straight rectangle whose mathematical flawlessness is clearly visible even from Earth's orbit. To create it, tens of millions of cubic meters of soil had to be extracted. Historians maintain with a straight face that this was done by peasants using simple hoes. But ask yourself one question. Where are the spoil tips of this rock? There are no mountains of extracted earth around the barays. Where did millions of tons of soil vanish without a trace? Geological samples show that the soil was literally vaporized or transported away on an industrial scale. It is physically impossible to dig such perfect reservoirs by hand while standing knee-deep in a tropical swamp. The topographic precision of the Baray's banks exceeds the capabilities of even modern laser levels. Dissident researchers, such as Christopher Dunn, have long pointed to signs of machine excavation. However, the French school of the Far East, which monopolized the excavations, prefers to remain silent. Why would ancient engineers need such unnatural, colossal volumes of stagnant water? The answer lies in the highly complex system of canals that permeates all of Angkor like a circulatory system. This hydrological labyrinth conceals principles of advanced physics. Engineering analysis of the watercourses irrefutably proves this network was not intended for the mundane irrigation of rice paddies. Flow velocities and lock angles are governed by an entirely different logic. This entire canal system acted as a highly sophisticated hydraulic computer. Water moved according to strictly calibrated algorithms, creating colossal pressure at critical nodes of this stone microchip. And here we approach the main secret, which the academic elite hides behind evasive terminology. We are talking about the chemical composition of the soil directly beneath the temples. The foundations of Angkor Wat rest on a multi-meter cushion of purified quartz sand. In nature, achieving such a level of silicon dioxide filtration requires the use of complex chemical reagents. Quartz is a powerful natural piezoelectric material. Under the continuous pressure of millions of tons of water from the barays and the colossal mass of the megaliths themselves, this sand began to work. It generated an incredible electromagnetic charge. The ancient hydraulic computer meticulously distributed this energy through a network of canals and quartz resonators built into the gallery floors. Angkor Wat was a grandiose power station operating in a continuous mode. The architects of this complex thought in categories of high-energy physics, not primitive theology. But official institutions, such as the Supreme Council of Antiquities, categorically reject any technical interpretations, calling this masterpiece of engineering just a beautiful king's mausoleum. In recent years, however, something happened that made the dogmatists nervous. A massive laser scanning of the impenetrable jungles was conducted, the famous LiDAR technology. The results of this high-tech reconnaissance were carefully filtered, but when dry figures and 3D models leaked to the public, the independent scientific world experienced true shock. The laser ruthlessly pierced the thicket of the jungle and exposed the truth. The visible ruins of Angkor are merely the insignificant tip of a colossal metropolis hidden underground. The scan revealed a perfectly straight mathematical grid of hidden highways, spiral water hubs, and dried-up underground reservoirs, comparable in size to modern megacities. The density of this underground development staggers the imagination. And this entire cyclopean infrastructure was rigidly subordinated to one goal: total control over the movement of groundwater. Academic science diligently ignores these inconvenient facts. In the reports of the Smithsonian Institution, the new LiDAR data is shamefully referred to merely as an expansion of the agrarian zone. To call this geoengineering masterpiece an agrarian zone is like considering a quantum computer a nutcracker. This is either willful blindness or a deliberate cover-up. Who designed this planetary system? Look at the marks of machine processing on the stone blocks of Ta Prohm. They scream about the use of circular saws. The cutting trajectories on the basalt blocks are absolutely parallel and symmetrical. A human hand with a copper chisel is physically incapable of maintaining a uniform thread pitch in millimeters. The builders of Angkor possessed terraforming technologies. They deployed this network after an unknown cataclysm of antiquity to restore the lost biospheric balance of our planet. Their primary task was not the construction of tombs. Angkor was a crucial, critical node of a single planetary thermostat that controlled the climate of the Earth. We find similar elements of this single global machine everywhere. Remember the trilithon of Baalbek in Lebanon, or the mysterious Abydos hieroglyphs with their depictions of technology. Angkor Wat served as the central processor in the Asian region. It synchronized the electromagnetic impulses of the lithosphere with atmospheric currents, strictly containing destructive monsoons. The quartz foundations and resonating barays generated an invisible dome, artificially regulating precipitation volume and temperature. The climate was under absolute mathematical control. But one day, the perfect mechanism, designed for millennia of uninterrupted operation, suffered a fatal failure. Something, or someone, crudely interfered with the system's operation. Remember the official, ridiculous version of Angkor's decline. Academics mumble incoherently about peasant uprisings and invasions by Thai tribes with primitive spears. This is a lie. Engineering analysis of the complex's structural damage shows the hydro complex was destroyed from within by a series of massive cavitation explosions in the central distribution canals. The entire system experienced a colossal overload. The pressure of boiling water tore apart the stone arteries, and the locks were melted by extreme temperatures unimaginable for campfires. The laterite in the central shafts, melted to the state of glass, is the very evidence that orthodox archaeologists cowardly hide from tourists under wooden walkways. With the physical destruction of this Asian processor, the planetary climate control machine lost a crucial element. The chain was broken, triggering a global chain reaction. The Earth's thermostat went crazy. According to data from independent Greenland ice cores, it was then that sharp, unpredictable temperature spikes began across the planet. The climax of this ancient technological tragedy is unfolding right now, outside our windows. Yet we naively blame factories and cars for everything. Modern global catastrophes, anomalous droughts, typhoons, melting glaciers, are not at all the consequence of the industrialization of the last 2 pitiful centuries of human history. This is the direct result of the fact that the highly complex stabilization mechanism, left to us by unknown genius architects, has finally and irreversibly ceased to function. The destruction of Angkor's hydro system triggered a domino effect in the Earth's atmosphere. The balance of electromagnetic flows was disrupted, and today we are reaping the fruits of this ancient accident. The irreversible climate change that politicians love to scare us with didn't start yesterday. Its timer was started the moment the turbines of Angkor stopped. But the academic elite continues to jealously guard their cozy university chairs and grants. They will tell tourists fairy tales about hose until their dying breath. To admit the truth means to sign a declaration of their own incompetence and destroy the entire deceitful chronology of human development, carefully built over 2 centuries. But stones, unlike professors, do not know how to lie. The impossible mathematics of the barays and the laser scanning data are inflexible in their objectivity. We stand on the very edge of a climatic abyss, not realizing that the keys to our salvation are buried under tons of earth and banyan roots in the jungles of Cambodia. The ancient hydrotechnical machine is dead, but if we can decipher the engineering blueprints of its creators, humanity will have a single chance to restart this thermostat. For now, we continue to walk through the halls of a giant broken computer, admiring the carvings on its casing and completely ignoring its burned-out microchips. The true history of Angkor is a warning to a civilization that fancies itself the crown of creation. The only question is whether we will manage to hear it before the point of no return.